Well, welcome back into the mid-Norfolk farm garden. I haven't done a video for a couple of weeks, so we're going to do a garden tour for you today, just take you around some of these borders to show you what's just at its peak at this time in early July. Got a fantastic morning to do it on. Blue skies, just a little bit of a breeze, but I'm hopefully going to be able to talk you around this garden and show you what we've got flowering. I couldn't really walk you around the garden at the moment without starting on these hostas. We did a little video a few weeks ago showing you what to do to get these into flower, and this is the reward that you will get with potted hostas at this time of year. The sheer volume of flower you can get on these hostas is incredible. This is one of my favourite ones with this pale powdery blue flower, and just look at the hoverflies on here. They're absolutely loving it, even in the cool shade of this west facing wall. I've had a little bit of leaf burn on some of the hostas over the summer. It's been so dry and hot here. Can just remove those, but actually I just tend to leave them if they don't stand out and look too bad. Agapanthus, very few have survived in this garden over the last winter, but these ones have at the base of this wall, and they're coming into flower bud beautifully at the moment. Always a little later because these just get the afternoon sun last thing. The sheer weight of the rose flower on this rose arch along the back of the new courted garden really comes into its own at this time of year. Whole combination of different old-fashioned roses along here. Big one in the middle is American Pillar. A lot of the others we don't really know exactly the names of because they've been here for probably 60 or 70 years, a lot of them. I've got lots of young ones coming on though, because these do layer themselves beautifully. And you're quite often digging up rooting cuttings and moving them around the garden. The giant Six Hills giant Catmint, still a mass of flower even at this stage. It's not been cut back yet, just awash with insects. This has been feeding the bees now since late April, and it's still flowering absolutely beautifully. Let me go down to the end and show you the long view. There we go. That's we designed to create these two long pathways. The little boulders that do the edges holding this gravel off the borders now completely swamped by the catmint, and this is one of the best ways of growing it at the edge of a gravel path because you have none of the problems associated with mowing lawns. It does tend to flop out and form a bush, each plant probably around 6 inches across, but if you can do it on gravel then it can give you this lovely effect. Runs into, on this end, a little lavender hedge, same colour palette. I do like lavender, but you can just see just how less effective it is, or less dramatic anyway. That's flowering away nicely. We've left the heads on the alliums, hoping we're going to get lots of seedlings off those. They will seed and grow away and give you lots of new bulbs over the course of 3 or 4 years if you do let them seed, and some of them have even got little bulblets in the top crowns of the flowers. I'm really pleased with the way this border is coming on. High verbena just starting now in the centre of this border. That's seeded really well over the last 12 months, and we've got millions of little verbenas that we're growing on to really extend that planting down the middle of all 4 of these borders. One of the jobs I've been putting off for a couple of years, but actually in the process of doing now, is replanting and thinning these irises. We're going to have a monoculture of a single variety in here, which is the Jaxiana lemon, and that's why you need to divide irises every 3 or 4 years. Just look at the congestion on that clump. This is all the same variety. I'm probably going to have 2 or 3 times as many rhizomes as I'm going to need to fill this border, but we are starting new iris beds in various parts of this garden, and any that we've left over we will grow on in the new vegetable garden. We have got a new little iris bed that we created in this aspect, and these are growing away really nicely. And in front of the shed where we've put gravel down again, we are growing on in quite close proximity a lot of irises there. But it's still all about these roses really in this part of the garden. Now in previous years we've struggled to grow anything in this quite narrow long rose border. It's only about 5 feet in width, and the soil's very poor here, with an old driveway that used to come in front of the house, so you're growing through really hard compacted rubble really. But we're gradually getting there by improving the soil, top dressing and watering, and the roses are starting to come back on this. We've got a runner cutting of that beautiful double red rambler getting going in here, and young plantings like this one. I'm not sure what that one is at the moment. I think it's going to be a double white. Just looking at that, we've got just a small area, another rambler, and we had to move a wisteria into this border from the front of the house where the builders were about to go through, where this was planted, to put a new drain. So that's come in this year, and the honeysuckle's doing really well. First season this one's really got going, and again really appreciating the scent off this. Really, this season's been very good for some things, and this is definitely one of them. I think this is probably either Bobby James or a Kifsgate, not absolutely certain. Again, it's one that's been planted here for a long period of time, struggling to get going because of the dryness under these very established oak and beech trees above it. But with a bit of water this season, again, that's gradually getting going. Then if we bring you around onto the long border, meadow really starting to seed now. Won't be long before we start popping some paths through that and knocking it back to give us some walkways. Roses here, almost over this one. It gives us a single flush. Really nice purple rose. But the thing that's really popping in the back of this border is this little clematis that's never done anything before, fighting its way through the bindweed, which again this year is flowering absolutely beautifully, but it's so prolific here. Do have to try and keep on top of that. But this beautiful blue flower just falling forward here, filling this corner of the border. And the asters in the background should come on over the next couple of months, give us some autumn colour here. But gradually maturing up, roses are flowering nicely, fruit trees just settling in to this little orchard area, which is now such a great wildlife environment. I do see barn owls hunting over this most evenings, and it's absolutely, when you start getting into it, full of life. Hello, Lara. Yes, good girl.